Well, what do you know? It is another Tuesday night live stream with the Hawk himself. Thanks, guys, for joining tonight. So let's see. Last Tuesday, I think I was off. I might have been traveling or doing something. I get a lot of these days confused these days, as busy as it seems like I've been with all the whiskey-related stuff. But one quick thing. I know Brian just sent a message. So to answer your question real quick, as far as Sarnia, yes, a lot of my wife, I think uncles and some other family. I've been there as well. They all still live there. Some are actually in the Windsor area. So yeah, Brian, I'm I and she's definitely familiar with Sarnia. So just wanted to get you on that. So let me go back to the beginning real quick. As always, Johnny Top Dog was in here right away. Cheers, bud. Mr. Mark Schwartz, good to see you, buddy. Roy R. does cocktails, as always. Probably does some fantastic cocktails as well. So the kitty himself, Sugar Kitty, good to see you. What else we got? My man Cheech, long time no see. It was finally good to catch up. We'll kind of go into some of the this past weekend and kind of what I was up to, along with some of the other folks in the whiskey community. But yeah, it was a really fun weekend. It was fun to finally get to meet Cheech and Jen in person. So yeah, I'm looking forward to. So I'll go over like in terms of what's in the flight tonight. I don't know the order or any of that. I did have my wife at least let me know what the batches were, just in the event there was something that was just not good or going to really stand out. So we'll kind of go through that here in a second. We'll get rid of that. Mr. Franchi, so it'd be awesome to kind of run into you guys again. So you and Marine would be, I thought for sure you guys were going to be at Bourbon on the Banks. We'll kind of talk a little bit about that here in a minute. My man TK, what are you out there? Oh, I figured I was just going to say, you must be out in the bean field doing something. I know you're working like heck to get stuff probably planted, I'm assuming at this point. So, Mr. Franchi again, Mr. William Hall, good to see you, buddy. Thanks for joining tonight. Let's see, perfect timing. I just got out of the garage to get some work done and join. Oh, cool. Appreciate you. Thanks for joining. Appreciate that. Mr. PB, how you doing, brother? Good to see you in there. Saw a lot of people this weekend at the Bourbon on the Bank. So, here's my buddy. How you doing, bud? Shears picked up 3 C923. Yeah. Well, you definitely can't go wrong with those. Another man, the myth, the legend, Big Vic, Big Rig, whatever you guys want to call him. So I was finally able to meet in person the man himself. Big Vic was out at Bourbon on the Banks in Frankfort, Kentucky this past weekend. Finally got to meet him. So here's my brother, Smoke and Firewater. Good to see you, bud. Glad you could make it in tonight. Let's see, what do we got here? My man Lance, good to see you, brother. I know Lance and I chat quite a bit, so good to see you in here, buddy. TK, I think I already said before. Cameron, good to see you, buddy. Well, looky here. Yes, I was thinking the same thing too. My fourth favorite Cameron. Good to see you. Scotty, good to see us. Fifth quarter tailgate. Good to see you, bud. Yeah, I know sometimes there's commitments and here. Well, wouldn't want to miss the niece's the wedding, that's for sure. So, JG, good to see you, brother. All right, so let's talk a little bit about this past weekend, and then I'll kind of get into some of the whiskeys we're going to try tonight in no particular order. It's blind. I know they're all Elijah Craig barrel proofs. In what order they are, I have no idea. So, Bourbon on the Banks in Frankfort, Kentucky. So, first time, myself, my wife, we met down there with a lot of people. Jason was there with his girlfriend. Got to meet a lot of great people. People that I've seen, obviously, in the chat quite a bit. And then we've all kind of busted what's over the years. But it was finally nice to we met Cheech. His wife Jen, Big Vic was there. Jason was there. Let's see who else was there. Obviously Whack. Kelsey was there. Ethan and Katie Turk were there. a lot of people were there. I'm sure I'm forgetting some people right now, but the event overall was, so I guess just a kind of little recap. So some of the guys got in a day or two ahead of us, had a nice big kind of flat in downtown Frankfurt, really cool place, right in the little kind of heart of the downtown area. Big bottle share there a couple of the nights. So got into a lot of fantastic whiskeys, which was awesome. Just the fun part of, again, the community was having the opportunity to finally, I guess, put some faces, with names and all of that. And it's always better than you expect in person. It's just kind of like, as much as we all kind of chat here and everything through the old interwebs, it's one of those things that when you get an opportunity to finally meet people that you've kind of chatted with online for a while, it's just, there's something that's very cool and kind of special about all of that. So fortunately, we were able to meet up with a lot of great people. The bottle shares, got to try a lot of different things. Obviously, great conversations, some shenanigans, all those kind of good things. But it was a lot of fun. That was one of the night, and then Saturday was actually Bourbon on the Banks. Basically, in a nutshell, lots of whiskey vendors, all at this, I guess I'll kind of say, large kind of park. And they had, I think it was like almost 150 different vendors. I mean, it was every whiskey vendor that you can imagine there, some kind of arts and crafts, things along those lines. But, there was just kind of a big, long strip. You kind of made your way down one side, kind of came back the other, but ran into a lot of great people. Saw Kenny from Bourbon Pursuit was there. Chad and Sarah from It's Bourbon Night. Lot of people, a lot of great people. Had a lot of good fun there. The bottle shares, dinners, all of these kind of things. So it's just one of those. Those experiences that you enjoy as you just kind of take it all in. So we all had a great time. But I'll tell you, when you, I'm sure a lot of you in here have been part of these whiskey bottle shares, I should say. It was just, let me touch on one thing. I just saw Cheech, what made me think of Jen's cookies. And I'm going to tell you what, they are probably hands down the best chocolate chip cookies I've ever had. They were probably the size of I don't know, maybe 4.5 inches, maybe 5 inches max in diameter. Thick, great chocolate. I was talking to Cheech and Jen a little bit about it, but they were the richest things ever. And fortunately and unfortunately, I ended up eating about 2.5 of those things. And it was the best hurt I've ever had probably in my entire life. My stomach was killing me, but at the same time, there was this satisfying feeling of just being able to have these. I know there were a couple that were there at the end of the night, but oh my Lord, it was just one of those things where when it's so good, you shouldn't continue eating them, but you can't help yourself, and you just kept on going. So, Cheech, tell Jen, thank you very much for making all those. A lot of the guys and girls that were there that night plowed through literally all of those things. It was just, oh Lord. I mean, I'd like to talk about, everyone talks about meat sweats. I literally had cookie sweats. It was ridiculous. So it was just one of those things where I couldn't stop eating those damn things. I'm glad I did. If they weren't as rich, I probably would have kept on going, but they were probably the best chocolate chip cookie I've ever had in my life. So yes, there was no regrets, no regrets after eating Jen's cookies. It was unbelievable. But overall, great experience. We had a great time. We were able to, when we were at Bourbon on the Banks, we've got our 4-gate pick coming, which was an incredible bourbon aged in a sherry rum cask. So one cask that held both of them. So we're able to unveil that there. Pretty much polished off that entire bottle at the event, and then maybe a little bit more at the bottle share at the end of the night. But so overall, fantastic event. I would encourage you, if you guys haven't gone, just figure something out. Whether you're there a couple days, you guys can meet up with a lot of people. I mean, we met up with everyone, whether we saw them at the flat or at the event. We got to kind of just meet and see a lot of great people, and it was just probably one of the best days I've had in a long time. It was definitely something that myself and my wife really needed. So yeah, Cam, cookie sweats. It is a thing. Sounds like a new shirt. Bourbon got the cookie sweats. Oh my God, it was just ridiculous. But let's see, man, I'm probably missing things. 100% incredible. My God. Benny, get on that. So, all right. So let's kind of talk a little bit about tonight. So obviously, right out of the gate, my opinion of the C923, the most recent Elijah Craig barrel proof release, is for me, hands down, probably the best one that I've ever had. Now, it's in here somewhere, where I don't know, but that whiskey at 13 years, 7 months, and again, with it being age stated, we all know that is the youngest whiskey that is within that blend. So, speaking of the devil, another man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Jeffrey Wack, his wife Dana was there. Darrell was there. Everyone was there. It was just incredible. But anyway, I digress. So anyway, C923, just in my mind, the complexity, and again, at 13 years, 7 months, I just felt that as rich and as complex and as well put together that whiskey was, just you just know when you've got quality that is in front of you and that you're tasting. And I hadn't, in my mind at the time, tasted anything that was quite that rich, that kind of well put together of Elijah Craig barrel proof ever for me. So I know some other guys have done it recently, but I've got some batches here in front of me. I got a list that was given to me as to what the batch number was, and we'll kind of go through some of those. I noticed there was actually 1 year that was all of them that was completely left off, and maybe I don't have any more, which is a possibility, or it was that year when the shit was kind of hitting the fan or whatever it may be. But anyway, we'll kind of go through that and just see. Again, you can't compare them all. I mean, you can't do that. I mean, you could in different streams, but what I've got tonight will be kind of interesting, because in my mind, knowing now what some of the batches are, I know what to kind of expect from some of them a little bit. So it's going to be one of those kind of really fun things, just going through those. And here's my base for the night. So this is the old whiskey or Elijah Craig Big Red 12 bottle. So these on their own, and the old kind of pirate bottles, which I've got a couple downstairs. I never had any of the old barrel proof ones of these. They were just the 12-year, but the richness of these, from what I remember now, it's been a while since I've had it, but you can just see, like, that's how dark that is. And only, even again at 94 proof, I'm sure the whiskeys that were in here, and this is going back years and years ago, I'm sure the whiskeys that were in here were pretty old. So it'll be interesting to see how this kind of flight holds up. So here's what we've got. So in front of me is just kind of a list of the participants, I should say, tonight. So in no particular order, there's batch in this blind somewhere, batch C923, A123, A122, B520, A118. So we're going back a few years, and the baseline is going to be the big red 12. So that'll give me a little bit of a kind of a palate warmer upper, so to speak, to kind of see what we're going to be up against. So thanks, guys. Appreciate everybody joining tonight. This should be a really fun, I think, blind, if nothing else. And yeah, let me know in the comments if you're sipping on some Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. What's been your favorite release? Can be anything. Doesn't matter, you know, what year, what batch, whatever it may be. A123. So I kind of wish A123. Actually, I do have A123. Yeah, I do have A123. I'm glad, because A123 was, again, I think prior to C923, was probably one of my favorites at that point as well. So we'll see. So yeah, there is A120, C923, A123, A122, B520, A118, and the big red 12 as my base. So cheers, guys. Thanks, everybody. Let me get a little sip, and we'll get kind of firing away. Damn, this thing is ridiculous. It is just old Rick House. Yeah, I thought about including that in the blind, but I wanted to pull it out only because I knew the proof would probably get overshadowed, and I could see. I mean, it's soft, again, 94 proof. I mean, probably one of the best, if not the best, 94 proof whiskeys that was out there and produced at the time. But my gosh, I mean, it is a cherry bomb, nice, sweet, rich oak, cherry, all of that, everything you'd possibly want in an Elijah Craig period. So that'll give me a good baseline for just the profile as we kind of get into some of these batches and stuff. So we'll kind of see what we've got. So all right, so let's do this. All right, so we've got 5, and again, no particular order. We're gonna be kind of going through these. Yeah, I was like, when I saw the list of the ones that she had pulled. Yeah, nothing from 21. I thought I had a C920, but maybe I had finished it and didn't have any more. But yeah, Blake. Yeah, finally got to meet Blake while we were there, so that was awesome. So yeah, I don't know. I'll be surprised if C923 loses, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, anyway, I had apparently only one of the 520s, an A118. I did have a B517, but I thought I had an open bottle, but it wasn't open, so she didn't grab that bottle just because it wasn't open. So anyway, that's what we've got. We'll see what we're up against tonight, and have a good time. So let's see what else we got. You hope B520 does well. My favorite from the list, C923, not yet. All right, so yeah, so it'll be kind of interesting to see. So I've got the key is over here. We'll get into that as far as what's in each one of these glasses, and we'll kind of go from there. So cheers, guys. Thanks everyone again for joining tonight. Appreciate it. You'll see. So I kind of changed it, moved the stream back, I guess, a little bit later, an hour, that 6 o'clock hour, after kind of just seeing. I just don't think there were enough people that were able to get on that early. So I'm just going to continue to do them at 8 Eastern. Hopefully that works for everybody else if that's good. So, all right, without further ado, let's kind of dive into some of these, and we'll see what we get. I'll probably jot down a few notes just so I have an idea of what the heck I'm tasting. So let's put M&J, and I'll show you guys the glass. So this one here right away is the Mash and Journey Whiskey Cup glass. So And you can see, again, beautiful colors on these things. I mean, it's just ridiculous colors. So, all right. Cheers, guys. Oh, boy. So that's interesting. So that's like really like much of an older smelling like rick house. There's like more of that funkier, more of like a funkier, like dusty kind of wood on that. That's interesting, boy. See, no, Blake, where this is just so these were poured. I get a little heavy. The wife is a little heavy handed. I've said before, because what used to happen was I didn't have enough to know some of these things, so I'd rather have more than not enough. So we'll see it. I'm not gonna be drinking all of these tonight. That's for sure. So, or I'd be having to take several of my my Z-Biotics, which do work, by the way. So if you guys are on the fence about Z-Biotics, oh my gosh, they are fantastic. So, all right, back to the mash and dirty glass. Boy, yeah, even a little bit of a slight kind of nuttiness that's on that old kind of more dusty rick house oak. Nice kind of cherry note. Interesting on that. Not one that smells overly familiar to me, like more recently, but beautiful, beautiful nose. Actually, more kind of like leather tobacco on that. I don't know, Mr. Jigs. Go big or go home. I am home, but if I went big, I probably wouldn't be leaving this room tonight. So, what's up, Barrels and Barrels podcast? So if you guys haven't checked the guys out for Barrels and Barrels podcast, do yourself a favor. I know they're on all the Spotify, all that good, streaming platforms, the YouTubes, all that good stuff. Give them a follow. They'd appreciate it. Watch them. I'm not going to fault them that they're Cubs fans or anything like that, but being a huge Brewers fan, I'll let it ride. I'll let it go tonight. So, but cheers, boys. Appreciate you guys joining tonight. All right, let's give this one a try. Cheers, guys. Oh, man. It's very, very like bright, effervescent, interesting. That is a different profile than I would say I'm used to on an Elijah Craig barrel proof. If that's not one of the older ones, I'd be a little bit surprised. That's a different profile than what I remember with even some of the more recent ones. I know the B523 was very kind of disappointing to me because of the profile, but man, that is very different. There's just this effervescence to it that is cherry, old, like dusty rickhouse oak. Man, I have to get another sip. There's my brother. What's up, Wes? Good to see you, bud. You got it. Boy, that is different. That is it is coming across very much of a dusty profile. Man. All right. Well, I mean, that's an interesting base to kind of figure out. Very, very interesting. All right, I'm gonna have to cleanse the palate on that one a little bit, only because that could really affect what I'm tasting kind of going forward. Cheese 1022. Yes. So we will release through my Patreon, through his Patreon, both at the same time. All tiers are so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever they are, they all correlate to ours as well. So they all release at the same time. So the highest tier is tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. All of those will release at the same time. So cheers to you, Cheese. Good idea. Great idea. So we'll see how it kind of stacks up tonight in this one. So, all right, let's go on to this one now. The Dad's Hat glass. Again, these things are all going to probably look about the same to you and I. So you can't get around it. And to me, I'm going to say this. I mean, in the bourbon game nowadays, for $75, what you're getting specifically now, it's got to be the best value in bourbon, period. I don't know where you're going to get something that is, with the newest release, 13 years, 7 months, for $75. You're just not going to get that at all anywhere. So, all right. So this is starting to smell a little more traditional. That one in the Mash and Journey glass is very, I'll say, off profile in terms of what I'm used to tasting now. So I'm gonna have to say that M&J. I'm gonna say off profile. Huh. All right, interesting. So the Dad's Hat's a little bit muted. I don't know if it's muted coming off of that one. All right, so more of a traditional nose. Again, a lot of those kind of caramels, vanillas that you'd get. Nice oak that's on it. Not something that I'm being blown away with on the nose so far. Not getting a lot of ethanol, a little light kind of cherry, kind of a light cherry note. All right, let's dive into this, see where we're at. Cheers, guys. I need another sip. All right. So a little more, I'll say, traditional. A lot of those kind of just, again, traditional Elijah Craig barrel proof. Great. Like, I would love to just sip on that. Some nice leathers, tobaccos, great sweetness. Maybe a hint of a nutty characteristic, not a lot. I was getting this interesting, like, fudge brownie note. I don't know why. It was like right when I sipped on it, it was kind of right there on the front of the palate. But again, a little bit of that kind of cherry or dark fruit. Beautiful whiskey. It's a really, really nice whiskey. Great finish on it. It is, boy, nice cherry note. The longer it kind of sits on the palate, the better it becomes, I think. Yeah, it's just interesting. I mean, coming off of that first one, as different as that first one is, it was just very, very different on that. So, thanks, Blake. Appreciate it. It was a really, really fantastic thing. We were really pleased with how it turned out. So we were glad we were able to kind of let everybody try it. Blake was doing a great job for as security for Foregate that day. So he did a fantastic job. I've got to give him a lot of props on that. So, all right. So let's see. We'll say the Dad's Hat. I'm going to give that. And it's just hardy. I'll go back through these things. Actually, that's probably what I need to do. To just go through some of these and see where we're at. Oh boy, that's a monster. All right, so right now I'm tasting the one in the Barrel King glass. Again, as you can see, nice big, bold, beautiful mahogany type of color on that one. Yeah, tons of spice. Lots of just the traditional kind of Elijah Craig barrel proof notes. Beautiful oak. I mean, that is like maybe one of the best, like, sweet rickhouse oak noses you'll get. Some cherry, A little bit of kind of a barrel influence that's there. Not an over amount of oak. Just extremely rich. Again, lots of kind of vanillas, caramels, all of those notes. So let's see what we can do. All right, let's dive in this one. Cheers, guys. All right, let me dissect this one a little bit. The balance of it is incredible. Again, that sweet, rich oak, great baking spices. Man, the finish is just forever, continues to linger. Vanillas, caramels, all of that. Nice chocolate notes. Little bit of kind of cherry or dark fruits without it being like overdone, if that makes any sense. The balance, fantastic on it. Great bourbon, whatever the Barrel King one is. Fantastic bourbon. So all right, so Barrel King, I'm just gonna say great right away. Great bourbon. Yeah, just a really fantastic profile on that one. Yeah, maybe a little hint. I would say, I was gonna say nuttiness, but it's not really there. That sweet, rich oak is really what's kind of dominating that. So, all right, let me cleanse the palate here again a little bit, and we'll move on. Okay, all right, what do we got here? So next up in my Blue Ash Farm glass, again, pretty typical colors. Like I said before, you're going to get all of these. All right, so a little bit different as well on this one. Maybe not. Yeah, again, big, bold, rich, great balance. Again, lots of those kind of tried and true type of noses that you get. Might be a little bit I don't want to say like there's a little bit more of a dryness there, but really fantastic just balance to it. It when you're smelling it, it seems like it's very just well put together, well balanced. Nice nose. Again, that nice oak is really kind of standing out on that one. So all right, let's dive into this one, see what this one's going to give you. Again, I probably should look at the oils a little bit more on this, but yeah, really nice oils on these. So all right, so again, like my immediate thought is again a fantastic bourbon. And I guess when I lead with that, what I'm really kind of getting at is that first sip and just kind of the how it kind of evolves on the palate. It's the flavors that are there are very balanced. There's nothing that's tannic or off-putting about it at all. The balance is great. That sweet oak that's there. Again, a little bit of those kind of darker fruit notes. Maybe even a little more chocolate or kind of a little hint of chocolate on that one. I'll say less of a, maybe less oak. I mean, it's sweeter oak, maybe less of an oak profile than this may have had. Definitely completely different than this. I'll have to go back to this one. I don't remember that one. I remember it being good. But in terms of overall balance on this one, really nice. I love when you get, I'm a fan of oak. I don't like it when it's tannic. I don't mind getting a nice oaky finish. I love how oftentimes the oak for me will just allow for that finish to kind of lengthen and really allows for, again, if you're getting that sweet oak, sometimes those other sweet notes are there along with it. So I like when I'm getting that component. And even if you get the oak where there's a little bit more of that like leather tobacco that's there, I think if it's a really well done whiskey, it will bring along some of those other kind of sweet aspects of a bourbon. So again, traditional vanillas, caramels, all of that. You know, again, a lot of kind of fruit notes you'll get with these oftentimes, but yeah, really, really nice, well put together bourbon. One thing I'm not getting blown away by tonight on really any of them so far is proof. I'm not getting dominated by proof, which is something in my mind. I don't mind higher proof bourbons, but I don't like when I have to focus on the heat factor. And when a whiskey becomes a little more one-dimensional, meaning I'm having to focus too much on the heat, I'm not a huge fan of that necessarily, where it eliminates that side of it. All right, try that one more time. Great bourbon. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where these things all really rank. So, all right, let's move on to our fifth one. Actually, before I do that, let me get a little bit more of a yeah, ice. I've had it, actually, bourbon on the banks over the weekend. I had it. If it's not the best four-gate bourbon I've had, it is in the top 2 or 3. I'll say that it is worth the $200 period. I'm working on getting a video shot of that ASAP to kind of get that out. I know a lot of them are starting to release and have, and hopefully I'll have a bottle here soon, and we'll be able to get the actual review done of that. But definitely worth the $200 price tag you'll get. So great double oak bourbon on their part. So all right, let me get a little base and see what we've got. Oh yeah, see, if that would have been in this flight, it would have been completely dominated. It's still soft, creamy, all of that, but you can tell it feels flat in comparison to what all of these are kind of drinking at. So, all right, let's do this. So, let's see here. All right, let's try this here. All right, so again, a little bit more of this slightly funkier oak. This is coming across as, again, a little bit more of that dusty funkiness that's there. So it's making me think that this is probably one of the older releases, only because of how the nose is and how different this nose is. Yeah, there's a slight kind of, again, dusty or funkiness that's there that that I've not gotten, I'll say, on 2, 3, and 4. So it's making me think that the two ends are maybe the older releases, and then the ones in the middle are kind of more of the recent ones. But only time will tell to see what we're up against. Yeah, it's, again, there's a little bit of that hint of that funkiness that's there that you get on some older whiskeys, but we'll see how this one kind of translates over to the palate. So. So that one there drinks, honestly, the most proof forward. Incredible spice on that. Man, long finish, great baking spices on it. Little more proofy. I would say the balance of it isn't quite there. It's great. It's a great bourbon. Again, these are all great in their own right. But again, here's where the kind of the proof monster of this one. Again, I don't know what the proofs are of any of them until I kind of get into the list. But this one's drinking a little bit hotter for some reason. Don't know why. Little more oak that's there. Little, maybe slightly drier, maybe a little more kind of tannic, but it doesn't feel quite as balanced as I would like. Yeah, there's even a little bit of that slightly dustier or older kind of funky note that's there on it. So far, in terms of, I think, how things are kind of working out, I like this one a lot. I think I would just have to be in the mood for that particular profile if I knew like what that really is. And one thing, and I've not done it, and I've always thought about doing it, but for Elijah Craig Barrel Proof, I think oftentimes a great way to like kind of catalog these is to go through them and either on your phone or, you know, in a book or whatever, you know, write down your profiles on them, only because they all can change, you know, really so much. And, you know, as the years go by, you know, you start to kind of forget about some of the older ones that you've got. And it gives you a good kind of reference to go back to. So, you know, if you're tasting through these and you just don't quite remember what it is, you can always reference back to that. So, you know, it's one of those things where I wish I knew like what this was, and I will know, you know, here in a little bit. But, you know, that's an interesting profile, and to know like what that is, whether I would want to kind of go back to that, or at least know what I'm going back to when I'm kind of pulling that one out. So, you're the worst. You're the worst. Just kidding. Just kidding. I don't have, let's see, I've only got B520 in here right now. I don't have C920. That would have been a nice one to have. And I'm sure I had one at one point, and I either have it in a different area or wasn't available or whatever it may be, or gone altogether. But I know the C920 is a major benchmark for everyone else. I had the B520, which in my mind was also another really good release. So, but you still unwrapping? Oh, that's all right, from Blake. All right, so let me go back through these things real quick and nose these. Man, great nose on that. Really nice nose on that. Really nice nose on that. And that one's funky. Yeah, there's something different about that one. For me and like my palate and kind of like what I would normally kind of get into, that's not really my thing. So, all right, let's see. So, all right, let me go through these again real quick, and I'll start to kind of put these things in order. So, and what I'll do is I'll go, so that you guys can see it on your end, I'll go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We'll do it that way, so that when you're looking at it, you see left to right in terms of my least favorite to my favorite. So I'd probably do this right away. This is probably my least favorite one, but let's just go for these 4. Man, that's good too. I don't think I can even put that one. Can't put that second. The worst. Man, this is gonna be tough. Maybe I should have taken my freaking Z-Biotics. Probably gonna need it after going through all these as quickly as I am. We'll be doing a Patreon only live tonight later on after this stream. I'll set something up. We'll be talking about some of our upcoming releases and all of that. So won't be the last time I see Big Vic glowing there in the dark as the sun fades behind him. Thanks, brother. Appreciate the super chat. We were able to Big Vic and I were able to share a couple of really nice pours while we were in Frankfurt at one of the bars. I got to try the Maker's Stellar Aged, which was really nice. I guess I wouldn't say I was as like impressed as I thought I was going to be, but we did get to try a 1991 rare breed, which was incredible. My gosh, that was good. So cheers, brother. Thanks again. Appreciate that. Oh, let's see. What do we got here? All right. I got to get focused here a little bit more. So this is my 5th one. Let's see what we got here. Man, that's good. All right. I got to start whittling these things down. It's good. Man, it's going to be really hard. Honestly, I thought the C923 was going to stand out a little bit more. Maybe what I've learned is they're all damn good. Maybe that's just what it is. Boy, that's good too. Wow, maybe that one there. Holy moly. I think that's the order. No, maybe not. See, that smells like a little older. But it's really nice and rich though. All right, let me do this. Let me get a little bit of water here and man, that is really good too. Man, that's great balance. Boy, that's nice too. But this is very like rich, and sure I'm like sitting here mumbling to myself, but man, I'm like trying to get like focused on like these things, and my God. Let's see what we got here. Man, I think that's a lot of cherry right there. So that's one thing, like, I guess what I'm trying to figure out here is sometimes there can be those ones where it's just almost like too much cherry a little bit. And it feels that way. Man, great proof. Fantastic balance. Man, right now I'm between these two for 1 and 2. This one actually might be between these. This one's like really good, but almost maybe like too much, like maybe a little bit too much cherry, if that makes sense. Man, those are very close right here. These two are very, very close. They're more familiar to me right now. All right, I think I've got it. I think. Oh boy, these two here. Man, that's good. I'm not sure if I want to flip flop. Man, that's just a great bourbon right there. What my debate, this one's probably standing out to me the most in terms of my overall richness, balance, how well put together it feels. These two right here, these two are kind of a little, I'll say, outliers. These two to me are probably the ones I'm struggling with the most, only because of how different they are. This feels the most balanced and the one that I would really enjoy just sipping on anytime. That's how that feels. What I'm trying to figure out between these two is this one feels more fruit or cherry forward. This seems more similar to this, but I guess I'm just trying to figure out like how I would want to drink, how I'd want to drink those two. All right, give me before I guess, let me go through again. I'll give you guys what's in the flight. You can kind of put in the comments as to what order you think these will finish in for me. But let me get some more water here real quick. Going through all these high proofs as quickly. Not really how I like to drink Elijah Craig barrel proof, but when you're kind of stuck with an hour or so, that's what you've got. All right, so here again. So in no particular order, in this blind flight, C923, A123, A122, B520, A118. So let me know your thoughts on this. Again, C923, A123, A122, B520, A118. Let me know your thoughts in I'll say least favorite to favorite. So 5 through 1, how you think those will all kind of rank before I kind of reveal. I think this is the order I'm going to go. These two I could really flip flop on any given night. I mean, look at the color on this one here. Let's see, how does this one look? Man, these are both very similar here. So man, this is really tough. I'm really trying to decide on what. Yeah, I'm gonna flip flop these. Yeah, that is good. They're both good. Yeah, they're really kind of late. That more little feels a little richer. This feels a little richer. This feels rich, extremely well balanced, well put together. It's less fruit than this, but this feels a little different. This fantastic. This is these two here feel similar. This was a complete outlier. I mean, it feels like it's one of those older ones. It feels and smells like it's an older kind of dusty type of bourbon. So before I reveal, so for the patrons, after this, we're going to be doing a Patreon Live. We're going to be talking a little bit about what we've got coming. So if you're a patron, you'll get a link here or a notification here pretty soon with that. All of that, we'll kind of chat a little bit about Thursday's release, which will be the Rolling Fork Rums, which is Foursquare, if you're not familiar with that. And then other things kind of coming. So myself and Jason will be on here in a little while with that. So, all right, I think that's the order I'm going to go with. So, all right, let me pump the brakes here for a second. Get my bearings, and we will release the outcome of these. So, all right, here we go. I wish I had a drum roll. I would do this. So, all right. In fifth place is the Mash and Journey glass. Let's see what we've got as in the Mash and Journey glass. So I've got my little key here. Open this one up. Mash and Journey. Wow. Surprising. That is, let's see if I can even find it down here. In fifth place, B520. Man, that thing was drinking really, really funky. Like that was way different than I remember. So fifth place, B520. So wow. Didn't kind of expect that. Man, that's very interesting. Just had this very interesting or unique like profile to it. It was more of an older, dustier kind of feeling. So very, very interesting. So, all right. Coming in fourth in the Wilderness Trail glass is the, let's see what we've got here. That's not it. Batch A118 came in fourth place. So very, very interesting there how that kind of stacked up. Remember, 4 was kind of just really nice. Like it was just a really nice bourbon. You know, you couldn't go wrong. It did feel slightly, there was a little bit of that kind of older, like funkiness, but it didn't come across as old as or as different as the B520 was. That's interesting. So all right, so let's see. In third place is the Blue Ash Farms glass, and Blue Ash Farm was the A123. All right, interesting. A123 finished third. Again, I was kind of flip-flopping back and forth between those two. So this could have gone in really either direction. Loved both of those for what they were. So, all right, so my C923 is still in the running. It's going to be interesting to see where this finishes. So, all right. So coming in second place is, let's see, in the Dad's Hat glass, as you guys can see there. Oh boy, I'm a little nervous to look at this. In the Dad's Hat glass is A122. A122 was in second place. So the A122, man, that A122 for me, man, was a fantastic whiskey. Let's see, what did I have before? Oh yeah, A123. That was third place. A123. Let me show that before. A123 in third place. Second place, A122. Man, that's a really good whiskey. Let me just try that again real quick. A122. I don't remember it being that good. And I'll go through the proofs on these things again real quick. But again, that's 120.8 proof. Drink a little bit higher than that. But man, the richness, complexity, and overall balance of that is fantastic. Little heavier kind of cherry or fruit note. So that only means one thing, that in the Barrel King glass is none other than batch C923. This thing just stands out like there is no tomorrow. If you guys can get that whiskey and you could buy 1, 2, 3, whatever it may be, do yourself a favor and just buy that whiskey. That is, it's everything that you could possibly want in a great, well put together bourbon. 13 years, 7 months on the C923. Did I show that one already? Yeah, C923 came in numero uno in tonight's flight. It just showed up as the most well balanced, with all of those flavors working extremely well together in a perfectly blended and balanced way. That's how that whiskey showed up. So it deserves that 1 or 2. And again, on any other night, I'll tell you what, let's see, the Dad's Hat again was the A122. That thing was a monster too. So if there's anybody who has A122, my gosh, you guys are also lucky. But if you can get now the newest release of that C923, do yourself a favor and buy 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever it may be. It is a incredible bourbon. So anyway, guys, thank you. So there you have it. There's the order of tonight's blind flight. And as you can see, the C923 did come out on top and it just came in narrowly beating out the A122. My gosh, that's really good. I don't remember it being as good as that. And again, the A123. So you can see A and C of 23, 2 incredible bourbon. So if you can get either the A or C batch of 923, do yourself a favor. You'll absolutely love it. So there you guys go. Thank you guys so much for tuning in tonight. Appreciate you hanging out with me on another Tuesday night. So hopefully you're good with the kind of newish or my old time slot of 8 Eastern. It kind of works better. I think there's just more involvement, all of that kind of stuff. So guys, thank you so much. Next week, we will be live with Nick Taylor from Found North. He's got some new things that he's working on that he wanted to share. We'll talk about the most recent batch, batch 7 that they released not long ago, plus their batch 6. There was I forget what he called it, but there was like kind of a secondary release of batch 6. So we'll be talking about that. Then I'm working on actually getting on the head distiller for MGP, or the now as we know it as Ross and Squibb, working on that as well. In addition to the new master taster for Old Forester, working on that as well. And then also working on getting either Bill and or Bobby from Foregate, excuse me, Elijah Craig Barrel Proof clearly kicking in from Foregate on to talk about what they've got kind of coming up, their newest releases. So they've got a lot that's kind of being released now and then working into 2024. So a lot of good stuff going on there. So constantly working on things for you guys, but thanks so much for joining tonight. Greatly appreciate it. So yeah, that'll do it. If you can find the C923, do yourself a favor, grab a few of them. You're not going to be disappointed in those whatsoever. In my mind, it may go down as probably one of the better Elijah Craig barrel proofs that they've released in an awful long time. So with that bold statement, we will call her a night. If you're a patron, stay tuned. We got some stuff coming up here. We'll be talking a little bit about that and some of the newest releases, things coming up. If you're not part of the Mash and Journey Whiskey Club, my question would be, why not? Do you not like great whiskey? Whatever it may be. I'm a bit biased. But anyway, with that being said, guys, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. And remember, it is about the journey and not the destination. Cheers. Thanks, guys, for joining tonight. We will see you next Tuesday. Cheers.